Yesterday I got a very interesting comment on a video I made almost a year ago at this point about starting strength and strong list 5x5, and I didn't respond to it because I felt like this deserves an entire video because I got so many thoughts and emotions while I was reading this. For those of you who haven't seen that video, it's essentially me talking about why starting strength and strong list 5x5, two very popular training programs for novice lifters, suck when it comes to physique development, okay, not strength, bodybuilding. And I'm essentially talking about what is wrong with these two programs and what you can change in order to make them better for hypertrophy. You can also watch the video if you just click here in the corner. I'm going to share a lot on the guy because the advice that he gives not only doesn't help, it does the opposite of helping. It essentially handicaps people. This is dangerous advice. And that is exactly why I'm making this video, but I do believe that he probably just wanted to help. So I have no hard feelings. I am not trying to be an asshole by answering this way. I just think that we can all learn from this comment because it sums up a lot of things wrong with the fitness industry and especially with the strength side of things. The comment starts like this. It is very good for starting strength. After 1 year you build base, then is up to you. I guess this probably means that starting strength is good and you do it for like a year in order to build the base, and then after that you essentially do whatever you want. This is bullshit. You do not need a base to start hypertrophy training. This is such a misconception. You can build the base with hypertrophy training. I cannot believe that this shit still comes up all the time. I remember that I was watching a natural hypertrophy like Q&A stream, and somebody also asked it there, should I do starting strength to build a base before starting a hypertrophy program? The answer is no, the base doesn't exist. You can just start training like a bodybuilder straight away. You have to understand that if you have a goal, you have to train for that one specific goal. And if your goal doesn't change over time, why would your training change over time? And also, even if this whole base thing was real, starting strength does not build a good base, okay? Starting strength builds you a base for bodybuilding that is so insanely imbalanced that for most people you will spend years after that trying to rebalance the imbalances that you got from training the way you did while you were doing starting strength. You literally made you have imbalances that will take several years to correct after that in just 1 year of doing starting strength. Congratulations. The base that you have built is shit. There's absolutely no reason why you have to start with starting strength, alright? There's no reason why you couldn't start doing isolations the first day you go into the gym. The only way a beginner's training should be different from a not beginner's training is it should be less. That's all. Now we got the funny part, and you were built very strangely. Thank you for the kind compliment. You have strangely long limbs and small bones on them. Now, he's not entirely wrong. I do have strangely long limbs because I have a condition that usually develops mostly among males. It's not as common among females, and it usually develops around puberty. It's not super uncommon, but most people don't have it, and it changes your entire life, and that condition is called being tall. I do not have strangely long limbs. I have strangely long everything. I am long, okay? It's not my limbs. I am tall. I am 6'3", 191 centimeters for those of you who understand that. I am just simply tall. That's the reason why my limbs are long. It's not because I have a strangely built physique or whatever. I'm fucking tall, bro. And he also says that I have small bones on my limbs, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know where he got that from. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with my bones even. This guy is literally talking about me like some sort of deformed person at this point, but whatever. I have no idea what problem he has with my bones, but I also do not remember him doing an x-ray on me, so I have no idea what the fuck he knows about my bones that I don't know. But that's alright. Next we have something that is not alright. The one line that offended me the most, not because he's talking shit about my genetics, I don't give a shit about that, is because this is the part of the advice that is completely untrue and is dangerous. It's fucking dangerous. He says, you have spider physique genetics. That's because I was talking about spider physique. The spider physique refers to when somebody has a relatively developed trunk and not very developed arms. It's essentially you being a thick motherfucker with skinny arms. The reason why I'm so offended by this is because this is a black belt. This kind of mentality holds people back. This doesn't help anybody. It not only doesn't help people, it literally handicaps a lot of people when they do believe this advice. Luckily, him saying this doesn't affect me because I know that it's not true, because I know that spider physique genetics do not exist. But a lot of people do accept this kind of mentality and they just give up. They think that they can never get big arms simply because their arms are longer, they are tall or whatever. And that is simply not true. And also, let's say that I do have spider physique genetics. What does it matter? If I knew about it, what changes? Am I going to change my training? What will I change if I knew that my genetics are shit compared to not knowing that they are shit? What do people do when they hear that they're never gonna make it? They give up. This is why this kind of advice is dangerous, because what do you do realistically if you have spider physique genetics? You either stop training or you take steroids. And so many people fall for this black pill shit. The black pill, if you don't know what that means, is essentially knowing that you're fucked. Being enlightened about having no light at the end of the tunnel. The black pill is learned helplessness, is thinking that there's no light at the end of the tunnel and therefore not going towards it. This kind of advice literally is you being in the tunnel, seeing the light at the end and you closing your eyes, and now you don't see the light anymore and it doesn't exist. So now you decide to stop. But the light is still there. It was always there. You just decided to close your eyes, and now because you don't see it anymore, you're not gonna go towards it, so you're just going to give up. Spider physique is not caused because of genetics. Spider physique is caused from improper training. I want you to understand that there really is no such thing as bad genetics for a certain muscle group. There is no such thing as spider physique genetics. There is, however, a sort of thing that is essentially the opposite of spider physique genetics, which is when your arms are a very strong point. That essentially means that your arms react well to training. Even if you do starting strength or strong lifts 5x5, all you do is bench and rowing. You don't do any isolations for your arms, but your arms still get tremendous. That is the opposite of spider physique genetics. That does exist, and those people will never have a spider physique, because even when they don't isolate their arms will still grow tremendously. But first of all, that is not most people, and second of all, the opposite, the spider physique genetics, do not exist. There really is no such thing as having bad genetics for a certain muscle group. You either have good genetics for a muscle group or you don't. You either have blessed arms or you don't. Your arms are either a genetic strong point or they are not. And the same is true for your calves and every other thing that people like to say about, oh, this is a genetic weak point for me. No, it's not. Genetic weak points do not exist. Genetic strong points do exist. And the thing is, what that essentially means is they just grow easier than all of your other body parts. For me, my quads are my genetic strong point. They grow very easily. Even if I train completely improperly, they're going to grow. But for those body parts that are not genetic strong points, they're just simply neutral, all you need to do is have really good training for them. And they can still grow to a very big size. It's just going to be more difficult. You will have to dial in your programming more. So there is somebody who does starting strength, gets huge arms because he has blessed arm genetics. You who doesn't have blessed arm genetics, you can get the same size arms, but it might take a little bit longer and you might have to dial in your exercise selection and your training more. And if you don't believe me, look at my 1-year bulking transformation video, which by the way, I think after this comment the guy looked at, my arms grew 1.2 inches in a year. So they grew a lot, so I do not have spider physique genetics. My arms are not a genetic weak point. I just had no idea before how to train them, and now I do, but it obviously is still going to take years of dedication to actually grow them to a really big size. If you think that I have spider physique genetics, alright, I'm gonna fucking prove you wrong. Open the calendar app in your phone and 3 years from now set a reminder, look at Viking Strength YouTube channel. And 3 years from now your phone will beep, you will look at the YouTube channel and you will see me with fucking huge arms. And the reason why this whole thing pisses me off so much is because I don't believe it anymore, but if the same guy would have told me this 3 years ago, I would have believed it. If he would have told me you're never going to get big arms naturally because you're tall, you have strangely long limbs, small bones, whatever, I would have believed it. And I would have stopped trying. In fact, the thing that held me back for all these years before, because I've already trained for 5 years. I've been training for 5 years. And I made shit gains for 3 of those years. The first year I made good gains. Then for 3 years straight I made shit gains. And now in the past 1 year I made good gains again. And you know why? Because I thought that I had bad genetics. The stupid brainwashing of the steroid users and the natty or nots worked on me, and I thought that I had bad genetics, and I thought that I was doomed and I will either remain small for the rest of my life or will have to take steroids. And as soon as I spat out that fucking black pill out of my mouth and I got my shit together and I got my mentality together and I learned how to program correctly and ball correctly, boom. 1 year later I made a fuck ton of gains. Now after that he goes on to say, and for men your age, you don't need more than 1 leg day a week, bro. It is all about upper body for a man. First of all, you have no idea about my age. I never said my age and I don't even intend to share my age. I never said when I was born. None of that shit. I could be a very overly developed fucking 14-year-old or I could be a 30-year-old with a baby face. You have no clue. And even if you would have any clue, this advice is bullshit. It really doesn't matter what age you are. A 14-year-old can train the same way as a 30-year-old. Your body doesn't magically start needing 2 leg days a week when you turn 25. And he says you don't need more than 1 leg day a week. You do not need more than 1 leg day a week, I do agree. You also don't need a barbell, you do not need any equipment. You could technically just do push-ups, and in the very first few weeks you would grow from that. But does that mean that getting a bar and a bench is not going to help you grow more? No. Sure, I do not need 2 leg days a week, but am I going to grow better from 2 leg days a week than from 1? Yes, the answer is yes. It is all about upper body for men. I disagree. I think lower body is very important as well. If you have chicken legs and a huge upper body, you look fucking stupid. And change my mind, but there is no more manly thing than big, fucking strong, juicy quads. And also, coming from somebody who was advocating for starting strength before, it sounds really weird because starting strength has 3 fucking leg days a week. Now, let's read the leg day that he recommends. 1, SSB squat. 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps. 2, SSB calf raise, 3 sets, 10 to 12 reps. 3, RDL, 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Now this is actually not bad. This is literally almost what I do. For me, a leg day looks like this. I do 3 sets of some sort of squat. A 6 to 8, as he says, would work as well, but I do prefer a little bit higher reps. I do like to go between like 8 and 10. I do 3 sets of calf raises, although I think the SSB calf raise, that probably means that you would do them from the floor. And also that would be very unstable, so I think that's a trash exercise. You should do either a calf raise machine or a 1 leg calf raise while you're standing on a plate, because that way you can actually stretch out your calves. But yeah, rep range, okay, fine. Amount of sets, good. And then the RDL, that's perfect as it is. The only problem is if I would do this workout once a week, I would not grow. I do this amount of work actually on my leg days plus a little bit of abs and back. But I train legs twice a week. If I would only do this once a week, my legs would not grow. 3 sets a week, once a week for legs is not enough. It's not enough for quads, calves, hamstrings. If you do this, you're not going to grow. This could possibly work for your first like 6 months, and then after that, it's probably not going to work, bro. It's way too little volume, way too little frequency. But then he says, if you have machine for it, add leg extension, 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps, hamstring curl, 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Whoa. What the fuck happened? You literally just doubled my workout. Before that, I had 3 sets both for quads and hamstrings. Now I have 6 sets. You doubled my volume. What happened? Now that we got this, if I would do this as well, once a week, okay, fine. Now you can grow. It's still gonna be completely suboptimal as fuck. And by the way, like if you do this much volume, why not just distribute it to 2 sessions a week? Literally, if you do 6 sets for a muscle group once a week, just do 3 sets twice a week and you're going to have better growth, period. But you cannot just randomly say, oh, hey, do this workout or do this workout fucking twice in the same day. Like you cannot just say, oh, hey, you only need 1 session a week. You do 3 sets of this or 6 sets of this. You double my workload. That is not how it fucking works. The first one is not going to work. Second one is going to work. It's still gonna be shit. But you cannot just fucking double my workload. That is, get the fuck out of here. And then he says, and you Dane for 7 days. I take that as an insult. I am not a Dane. I have nothing to do with Denmark. I do not speak Danish. I wasn't born in Denmark and I have nothing to do with Denmark. I know he probably meant done, but come on, for the memes. So now I responded to everything, talked about everything. If you who commented this see this video, feel free to respond, please. But do not give advice like this because I'm going to have to shit on you, because I do not have a problem with you. I have the problem with the advice that you're giving, because it's not only not helpful, it's dangerous. It holds people back and it does make them fucking jump on steroids, literally. You know how many people jumped in gear just because they've heard that, oh, you're never going to make it as natural. Which was never true. They never even tried. They just looked at the natty or nots and they thought, oh, all of these physiques that look good are not natty. All of the physiques that look like shit are natty. You cannot even look good as a natural, so why even train? It doesn't make any sense naturally. So you either stop training naturally or you start taking gear. 2 very great paths. One of them is going to suck because you're just going to stay small. The other one is going to take fucking years of your life. This is bad advice. dangerous advice. You have a responsibility about the type of advice that you give out. So be more careful with your words and research your shit. And click here to watch my last video.